Yu-Gi-Oh! Reprints. You like them, I like them, and they're a really good time, but I think that they're not always handled all that well in Yu-Gi-Oh!, at least by Konami, so I've got some complaints, but also some solutions for how I feel reprints could be improved, or at least what the general rules should kind of be around reprints and the way that they're done. So let's just get started by first of all explaining, with reprints what they are, because some people may not know. It's when Konami reprints a card, oftentimes in maybe a different rarity, usually a lower rarity or one that's meant to be a little bit easier to get. And, they'll reprint chase cards that everybody really wants. They'll also just sometimes reprint, lots of cards that just came in a set. So one of the most notorious sort of reprint sets in the game right now are the yearly tins that come out. So, like most recently, that was the 2022 10 of the Pharaoh's Memories. And so, yeah, it reprints a lot of their cards from the past year, and it's great because people can finally get their grubby mitts on the expensive cards from the past year. Now, if you've been watching this video or this channel really for a long time, you'll know that I am very pro reprint. I really think that anyone should be. I know that like vendors maybe aren't, or people who try to like sell, buy sell cards a lot, because a reprint will decrease the value of a card and make it easier to get. Some reprints do it more so than others. It kind of just depends. And sometimes reprints are actually like OTS upgrades, where like an OTS card will be like an ultimate rare version or something. Yeah, okay. So, my first big thought on reprints is we need desperately, desperately to bring back the special edition. What do I mean? Well, let's take a look. So, you guys might remember products like this. This is the Ignition Assault Special Edition. It's actually the last special edition that the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG has done. So in these, you would get 3 copies of the car or the pack that's mentioned on the front. So you get 3 Ignition Assault booster packs inside, and these would be $10, which was already a really nice deal. Normally, 3 packs would cost you $12. In these, they cost you $10. I guess if they were to come back today, they might be like $11 because of inflation and everything. But you get the picture. And also, they would usually put super rare variant cards inside of these. One of the variant cards might just be like some OCG import card, and the other one would be a super rare version of a card in the upcoming next set, which I thought was a really, really cool way of kind of hyping people up for the next set. So, yeah. Why am I so adamant about these coming back, though? Well, the reason why is because special editions printed the same set in an unlimited edition. So you guys might know like cards might say first ed on them, like first editions printed on the card. What you may not know though is that Yu-Gi-Oh cards are only ever first edition now, like main set cards. So let's take Power of the Elements, right? Power of the Elements just came out, and if you bought packs or whatever, then they're first edition packs. What Konami started doing in 2020 right after Ignition Assault is there are no more additional printings of packs after the first runs of them. That's why, if you might have noticed in the past couple of years, it's been really tough to get packs after they go off the shelves the first time. They don't stay on the shelves very long. And what used to happen was these special editions would come out and you'd get unlimited printings. So there would be like, some avid collectors who were like big on only getting the first ed version of a card. Like, oh, I only want first edition Pot of Prosperities or first edition Forbidden Droplets, or maybe I guess a recent example would be like, I only want first ed Ultimate Slayers or something like that, Sprite Blues. But these don't exist anymore. And I think that the fact that they don't is a real travesty, because while Konami maybe would claim that they didn't sell well, they would kind of like flood shelves and not get great sales, at least in some locations. I think that these were great because while the cards were the same rarities and stuff inside of them, it gave a second wave of printings of the same set to go into local communities. So an example that I always bring up is Rise of the Duelist in fall 2020. So this set introduced like 3 really strong power spells: Triple Tactics Talent, Forbidden Droplets, and Nadir Servant. It also had a really high price tag at the time, not as much anymore. But yeah, 3 really, really powerful like staple spells that just a lot of people needed. And there have been plenty of others, like say Pot of Prosperity or Lightning Storm might come to mind. And so with a card like Forbidden Droplets, if you didn't get your playset of Forbidden Droplets early on, then it was really, really difficult to ever get to them. Now, what would normally happen is a special edition of Rise of the Duelist would come out where people could get it. It'd be, something like this. And even though it would be just as hard to pull the secret rare droplet or the secret rare triple tactics talent or whatever, The difference is that it was just additional printings to get them into the scene. But when it's sort of printed in a way where like, oh, okay, the product's off the shelf, the first run of the product is off the shelf and it's never going back on the shelves again, that's a problem. So the people at the local scene who have them are good, and the people who don't are kind of just forced to buy them, and it really, really hikes up prices a lot. So I don't like that change. I really wish that these products, these special editions, would come back. I think that is first and foremost one of the biggest like changes that this game need, or just things this game needs to revert so that people can get cards. Okay, second thing is that I think that staple cards should not get a shelf life of over a year. And I really think that should be like the tippy top of it. Like, I think it's insane that Pot of Prosperity only just got its reprint in these tins when the card came out in Blazing Vortex, which was like January 2021. So we went nearly like 20 months without a Pot of Prosperity reprint, and Pot of Prosperity is a really good staple card. There are a lot of really good staple cards. There's Lightning Storm, there's like Pot of Extravagance when that was a thing. There's, Forbidden Droplets and all these cards that, really need reprints because people want to play them. And I don't think that there should really be like this big a barrier to entry. Like a card shouldn't cost, 80 or 100 or $150 to get a single copy and potentially $300+ to get a playset. I think that those cards need to be getting reprinted much sooner. I don't care where you reprint it necessarily. It doesn't have to be in the tins or whatever, but just do some reprints, please. People need cards, and I think that when you're doing these reprints as well, do not print cards in like another exclusive rarity. I talked about this in a video fairly recently, but like with Forbidden Droplet, right? It was a secret rare in Rise of the Duelist, and it cost loads of money, over $100 at its peak, and it got as high as like 150 and stuff. And then when they reprinted it, first of all, they reprinted it as an Ultimate and an OTS pack, which is kind of just like a slap in the face because that one's obviously not going to be any cheaper. But the first sort of accessible reprint of it was not in the 2021 tins, which was weird to me, but it was in Battles of Legend Armageddon, I want to say. And in Battles of Legend Armageddon, it was a secret rare, seemingly short printed. Can't comment on whether or not it's actually short printed. I know people fuss and say short prints don't exist, whatever. But it was very hard to get, and so it still ended up being extremely expensive. That doesn't make any sense to me because the thing is, reprints are meant to make like a second chance for people to get the cards, and it should be an easier chance to get the cards. If it's hard to pull in its original pack, I don't actually have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with cards being like really tough to get in their very first printing if it's like a valuable card. What I am saying though is that the card needs to be reprinted in a timely manner so that people can get it, and when it's reprinted, don't make it something that you have to like pull, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of packs to get. Like in Battles of Legend, it's what? Every card's like an ultra, and then like you get like a secret in each or something like that. I don't know. Then Droplet should have been an ultra, not a secret in a Battles of Legend pack. Or if you were to put things in the tins, like Pot of Prosperity recently, I don't think that Prosperity should have been a secret rare in these latest tins. I think that it should have been like a super rare so that people can get it. I'm not saying that, it should be a common where you just get like, you open one pack and you get a bazillion of them. I'm saying that it should be easier to get. Because to me, it kind of defeats the purpose of a reprint if it's not like that. And I think my last and final thing with reprints is that, and this one's like kind of more, of an aesthetic thing. So it's subjective, so don't take it too seriously. But I generally like when cards are just a different printing in general than like a different rarity than they originally were. So it's kind of annoying when like a card's secret and the reprint is secret. I prefer the reprint to be like a lower rarity in general, or maybe it's a different one. It could be super, it could be ultra, it could be whatever, but that's neither here nor there. That don't worry too much about that. My main thing with reprints though is just that I think that they really need to bring back these special editions more than anything, and they need to reprint cards more quickly. One other quick thing too is I think with Ash Blossom, like they recently put it in the Crystal Beast starter deck. More of that. More putting staples in starter decks. I know there's always some drama around like which good hand trap reprint gets taken out of structure decks from the OCG to the TCG translation. Please stop that, Konami. Just put like all the good hand traps, all the good staples, put more of them in the starter decks. It's great when it's a starter deck because it's guaranteed and you don't have to pull it at all. So yeah, kind of reminds me of why we need a dual Devastator too, but I made a video about that already. All right, that's going to be it. I think I've bitched and moaned long enough for one day, so hopefully you guys agree with me, maybe have some different thoughts on reprints. Subscribe so that I can share more of my Yu-Gi-Oh complaints with you next time. All right, see you in the next one. Pass turn.